everybody accounted for. Uh, Certification of completions are now all electronic. You have to contact HR to get a copy of that, or I think there's a portal we can go through now to pull those out of. And as soon as I get that sheet back, I'll get it turned in, whatever the processing time for HR is, I'll get it back over to you. So, just a brief, quick history. Kind of what happened was risk management approached 3 of the departments that used heavy equipment. 1 being water, 2 DOT, 3 Parks and Rec, about doing some in-house training. They had a few accidents here and there, and they sent people for classes and before, but they thought it'd be better if co-workers or supervisors taught it to the people more in tune with what you do and use the equipment for each and every day. Chuck and I had an opportunity to go through a class that taught us a lot through Yancey Brothers. Everything you're going to see here is Caterpillar. It's a program they gave us to use. Just because this is Cat, you probably have a Komatsu loader here or some Hyundai or another brand loader. A lot of techniques, a lot of the safety, all the things like that are very, very similar. Of course, they might not look the same color, controls might be exactly the same, but majority of the operational characteristics are going to be the same. So, for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Ryan Coover. I've been here with the county going on 11 or 12 years. Maintenance superintendent over in the system maintenance division, and we teach these classes every 4 months, 3 months, something like that. So, is there anyone in here that has never used a wheel loader? Got 3, 4. All right. You ever used any heavy construction or anything previous to this?
Forklifts, heaviest I've used.
Okay, forklifts. You, sir? Forklifts. Okay. All right. So keep in mind, the loaders, they're big machines. If you bump something with a loader, it's probably going to do a lot of damage. What this class is going to teach you today is going to be looking out for preventable hazards, looking at your safety, machine safety, and identifying a lot of the major components, what to do before, what to do after. We're going to talk really heavily about a 360 walk around. 360 walk around, just checking the machine out, because everybody's ran in a situation where you've got on something, you get off of it, someone said, hey, did you know that was dented, broken, cracked, missing? You're like, oh, I didn't do that. Well, you're the last one on it. So what a 360 walk around is going to do is let you do a quick walk around. It's going to take about a minute, minute and a half, just looking at the machine, looking for obvious, conspicuous things. We're not a mechanic. We have a fleet division that takes all that stuff. We're looking for conspicuous stuff, and I'll get more in detail on that. So if you want to move us on through, Chuck. And a lot of that we hit. The majority of the stuff on here we're going to skip through and get to the kind of the meat of everything. Let's go ahead and hit the next. It's not going to be 4 days, anything like that. We're going to have in the classroom talking a lot. We'll actually go out and get on a wheel loader, do a few operational things, including the 360 walk around, and that's about it. One of the main things we'll talk about safety, like I said, general maintenance, what's in the compartment, the operation compartment, pre-operating procedures, and then the operating procedures. All right, we'll identify machine safety components and job site safety requirements as well. One of the good things about being inside the water treatment facility is you're kind of isolated. You do have trucks coming in and out. You do have personnel. You have vendors working, I'm sure. But you don't have the general public. You're not going to have a dog walker or cart pusher come through here. So that definitely does help. So as far as safety, we'll look at basic safety stuff and some things you might not consider safety. So name one safety feature on a wheel loader that anybody can think of, just one. Seat belt? Parking brake. Anybody else?
Roll cage.
Roll cage, yeah. You got rollover protection on these machines. Some of the things you don't think about or take for granted, maybe headlights, windshields, the seat and how you can adjust it, your pedals, your mirrors. All those are really safety features you take for granted. You hop in your car, you're ready to go to the set. One of the other things we'll talk about is personal safety as well. We can go and skip on to the next one, Chuck. And there's an operation and maintenance manual for every machine. Fleet typically has those on site. A lot of the stuff, depending on the vendor of the machine, you can download from a website. It may be in the back of the machine somewhere that you can reference any particular specific questions for that machine. So one of the biggest things, majority of the accidents that happen on wheel loaders are not because someone has an accident, runs into anything. It's usually getting on and off the wheel loader. It's usually something human. Or if there is an accident on a wheel loader, it's usually, you know, we're operating outside the machine's limitations and capabilities. Maybe we're sick at work, we don't feel good, we worked a double shift, we're tired, maybe alcohol, drugs, you know, if it got to that. So here are some of the things that can affect you. You know, like I said, if you're sick at work, you don't feel like being here, your stomach's in a knot, you're not thinking about operating a wheel loader, you might make a simple mistake. And again, if you're operating a wheel loader, it probably weighs close to 20,000 pounds. If you bump something, it's going to do damage. You bump your car, it's probably going to, you know, cave in the side of it. Medication, if you look at a lot of the medications we have, they all carry a warning label: operating heavy equipment, operating machinery, driving. Anytime you do have medication like that, make sure you fill out a drug notification form. Get it to your supervisor. If you don't know what that is, your supervisor can fill you in. Typically, anytime you take a prescription or anything that has a warning label on it, just let your supervisor know, fill out that documentation. Just for some reason, maybe you went to the doctor, they put you on some kind of narcotic for something, and it's in your system, you get popped for a random drug test. That's some paperwork to help you out, to let everybody know that, hey, I'll let you know that this was going on ahead of time. Let's see here. Yeah. Stress, like I said, if you worked a double shift, you got a lot of stuff going on at home that's on your mind. You bring that stuff to work. I mean, we try not to, but it comes to work. You know, people call, get family emergencies going on. That's something definitely to think about. Alcohol, of course, you know, alcohol-free, zero tolerance here at Cobb County. Just because it's zero tolerance doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So, you know, if you're out late, early a.m., shift coming up, just keep in mind what you got going on. You might not mean to do anything, but just keep that in mind. And fatigue, I touched on with double shifts. Eating, you know, when I say eating, it usually goes two ways. Either you are hungry or you just ate and you're tired. So, you know, we've all sat down, had that good lunch, you know, we were waiting on. Man, that felt good. And you kind of just mellow out a little bit. So you might have some delayed reactions, not be thinking clearly. So keep that in mind. All right, proper clothing's a big one. You know, when we're out here, whatever your on-site requirements for the facility are, if you got to wear hard hat, vest, eye protection, or you're out of the buildings, you know, whatever your supervisor or site policies here are, definitely follow those. And these are some of the items that you can have for to help you out on the job sites. So these items right here are ones that can cause issues. So if you have a necktie on, how could that affect you operating the machine? Any idea? Get caught? All right, so if you're getting on or off the machine, or maybe you're checking some components under the hood, just looking for any obvious oil leaks, and you get in there, get snagged on something, and you step back, it may be choking you out. Loose clothing, the same thing. You know, scarf. Anybody wear scarves here? Okay, didn't think so. Scarf could get caught. Rings. What about rings? How could that affect us? Get hooked to it? Yeah. Yeah, so the steps on these machines, are they soft steps or metal steps, or what are they? Some of them got rubber on them. Most of them probably going to be like metal cleats, right? So you get that traction so you don't slip. I'll tell you a story that happened in system maintenance. You know, we got the backhoes that pull around the trailers. The guys got to get up and down and off of them and everything. Got a guy coming off of a backhoe, has a wedding ring on. Grabbed one of the steps when he's coming off the trailer. the little cleat got caught under there. He went back, that didn't let go, pulled up underneath his skin to the first knuckle. That wasn't the bad part. The bad part was we had to pull it out from under the skin, force that skin he just tore back up down, and then pull it back over it before it swelled up. So keep that in mind. It's something he did it 100 times, did it every day when he came to work, on and off that machine multiple times a day. And just that day, he let go, but his ring didn't. Wristwatches the same way. Bracelets can do the same way. All right, so as safety features, we'll get on there. We'll talk about specific safety features to the machine you have here. The loader you have right now, is it a rental or is it your same?
It's theirs. Minnie's got it back complete.
You got it back. Y'all excited about that, right?
It runs so good.
All right, get a new one coming eventually? Eventually, all right. Now keep in mind, just because you may have a machine that is older or a lot of hours, that doesn't mean it's not a good machine. As long as the safety features are there, the safety features are working, each machine, whether it's new or old, is going to have its specifics. You know, it might, this lever might stick a little bit. This steering might not turn as fast one way or the other. So keep that in mind when you're operating equipment. As long as it's operating correctly and safely, it might not be the best operating machine compared to a brand new unit, but keep in mind it's still, as long as it's safe, that's the biggest thing. So in the cab, you're going to have some things: fire extinguishers, first aid kits, washing stations on the work site. And everybody knows where that is, right? If you don't, contact your supervisor. He'll definitely point them out for you. But usually that's something you should learn pretty quick once you get on board here. All right, FOPS or ROPS, seat belts. These are some of the safety features. And again, brakes, warning labels, indicators, non-slip surfaces, handrails. One thing we'll talk about is anywhere there's a cleat, steps, handrails, handholds, that's where we're supposed to access the machine. You know, there's no steps leading from the bucket up straight to the cab, up the middle of the machine. That's not somewhere we should go. We should only go where there's cleats, places to put our hands, places to put our feet that allow us to safely access the machine. One of the biggest things we see at treatment plants, and since we've been teaching this class, it appears that it's got better, is the cleanliness of the cab area. You think, you get in your car, you get all your pedals, same thing with the machine. You get in there, you get your levers, controls, steering wheel, pedals, they're all there. But if you got gloves, trash, boxes of empty gloves, fire extinguisher rolling loose in there, that stuff can affect the way you operate the machine. You may go hit the brakes, but if you got a bunch of rags or gloves packed up under there, it might not stop as you would expect. It could cause an accident. Same thing with the levers, if you got different things in there. The biggest thing is make sure you don't have any heavy items in there. A lot of times we'll see people have tools, big wrenches, sockets, maybe the draw pin for the back of the machine in that cab. When I say the draw pin for the back of the machine, if you had to hook a cable up to it, it's a pin you drop in and out of the rear counterweight on the back. Depending on the size of the machine, that pin can be anywhere from this big to this big. So you're talking probably 20 pounds to 40 pounds. If you were to get in a rollover situation, you don't want anything loose in the cab because it's going to beat you up. And the other thing is you want to stay in the cab. So make sure we remove any unauthorized tools, supplies, other material from the cab. Make sure items you carry are not loose or in the way. Because when you're in there, if you were to get into a rollover situation, that cab is designed to take a rollover. That's the best place to be on the machine at that time. Hopefully that doesn't ever happen. Belted in, ready to go. That's what it's designed to do.
Just to let y'all know, I did this class Tuesday, and we went out there, did the pre-trip on your loader, climbed up inside. Well, it wasn't bad, it wasn't real nasty, but there was a 1-pound brass hammer just laying on the floor over here, a big 30-inch or 30-millimeter wrench laying over here, fire extinguishers laying on the floor, not strapped up to the mounting bracket and all that. So we pointed all that out. But stuff like this, I explained to them, that thing rolls over. You don't want that 1-pound hammer flying around inside that bin and gonna lay you out.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So refueling, whatever your standard policy is here for refueling. I know you get on-site fuel, so it makes it easy. Majority of the time, anytime you'll have issues in the machine starting, you usually call Fleet. Fleet comes out, takes care of that for you. So we're not going to really talk about jumping it off or jumping any other machines off with it. Big thing. Majority of the accidents happen getting on and off the machine. It's not people having accidents while they're on the machine. This is injuries to people-wise. So use ladder steps provided, keep them clean and safe. If they get damaged, get them fixed. 3 points of contact every single time, always face the machine. Because if you come off the machine with your back to the machine, you slip. I can't bend my head all the way around. I can't see what's behind me, but if I slip right here in front of me, I can reach up, grab something else, or put my foot somewhere. So anytime you're coming off the machine, 3 points of contact, face the machine, 2 hands, 1 foot, 2 feet, 1 hand. Do not use controls as handholds. You reach up there and grab the steering wheel, and that machine moves for some reason, even with it running or not, it could throw you off, lose balance, cause you to injure yourself. And make sure you don't come down off the machine and just jump. You end up hurting yourself, blowing a knee, twisting an ankle, breaking something. It definitely hurt you.
Using hand controls, it's especially on your equipment. You do have a door on the right-hand side. If you open up, if you was ever have to access that cab on the right-hand side, that's where all your levers and controls are. And you know, just human nature, you want to try to want to grab one of the control arms or whatever, and pull yourself in. That's why I always try to enter the side that has the easiest access.
Yep. And again, back to whatever your site rules are for here for the facility, make sure you follow those. Procedures for disabled machine, what we'll touch on that is basically called Fleet. Big one, indoor clearances, because here you got some dumpsters that are inside. You can take the loader inside. I think it stays inside at some point, doesn't it? So roll up door in front of that facility, so the door can roll up halfway or all the way, right? So make sure you're aware of where the door is. Just because you hit open, you might need to verify or get someone to watch you on it, spot you. Yeah, definitely don't run the loader inside unless you have properly ventilated areas. You know, if you're trying to let it warm up, you need to bring it outside, let it warm up outside of there. And utility line locations, I believe most everything in here is under the ground. You might have some overhead odor control stuff, but I know some of the plants goes over a couple of roads. Not here. So that's good. You know, if you don't have any utility lines hanging over top that you got to worry about, that's another good thing. Conditions of roads. Corey, have y'all got that paved back in the back yet? Yeah. We had potholes will fill. Yeah, we had a crew come by and fill some potholes a while back. So that definitely can affect you. If you're carrying maybe a chemical coat or a dumpster and you hit a pothole, it could throw whatever you have on the forks off or material in the bucket. Direction of travel, right of way, site rules, speed limits. Thick dust, smoke, fog. Get a lot of fog down here sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes. 24/7 operation, so make sure lights are working. If it hadn't rained in a while, you could get some dust down here, I believe. Here's a video. It's called Safely Home. It talks about, what people do on equipment and how it relates to getting home safe at the end of the day.
Everyone, every day. At Caterpillar, those words are more than a motto or a goal. They're a commitment. And we ask you, the machine owner, operator, technician, job site employee, to share that commitment with us. Working with and around heavy equipment can be very rewarding. You leave work every day with a sense of pride and accomplishment. Your work makes the future brighter for everyone. But working around heavy equipment can also be dangerous. The interactive and productive mix of machine, man, and environment can be volatile. Caterpillar and its engineers who design each and every machine are devoted to providing you a safe and productive machine. And Caterpillar asks you, the person who operates, maintains, and is around heavy equipment, to share that devotion to safety with us. And yet, the safest machine and the safest operator can be challenged by an unsafe job site or work environment. It's everyone's responsibility to ensure that these are set up and managed in a safe manner. Your safety is in your hands. At the same time, the safety of your coworkers is in your hands also. It all starts with you and your acceptance of personal responsibility. The operation and maintenance manual for every Caterpillar machine begins with this valuable warning. Most accidents that involve product operation, maintenance, and repair are caused by failure to observe basic safety rules or precautions. Please don't overlook the word basic in that statement. Please make even the most basic safety-related actions second nature to you. Actions like reading and understanding the operation and maintenance manual, getting on and off the machine safely, inspecting the machine before each shift, using every basic safety tool available to you, locking out and tagging out a machine before you work on it. Not only do your coworkers put their safety and their future in your hands, so too do those you love and who love you. Safely home, everyone, every day. Please join us in that commitment.
All right. So just keep in mind a lot of the issues and accidents are basic safety. You look at someone operating a machine out of the capacity and capability of the machine. You're trying to lift up something too heavy, move something too heavy. You're going too fast. You are carrying a load too high, which raises your center of gravity. Basic stuff. If you look at a lot of the accidents that we see, I'm actually the chair on the safety review board, and a lot of the accidents we see that come through there are simple stuff. You know, someone thought they could back out and ended up hitting something, or they made a turn and hit something. If they stopped, got out and looked, it could have been prevented. Let's move on through maintenance. So again, as far as maintenance, I said we're not fleet, we're not mechanics, we're not going to go out here and check tolerances on a machine, we're not going to go out here and change the oil, change the fluid, change the filters, do a service on it. We're looking for conspicuous, obvious items on it. We go out there and the wheels, or the tire's flat on it. We go out there and there's oil everywhere under it. The windshield's shattered, pieces are missing. I mean, conspicuous, obvious things. And the walk around is something we do for safety, to increase the machine life and performance, because if that loader goes down right now, what would y'all do? Call fleet. And if fleet couldn't fix it, rent a new one. There you go. So it's vital to the operation here at the plant. So it's everybody's responsibility, to keep the machine going by doing simple things. Checking the fluid, checking the oil, checking, the obvious things. If you got a tire that is worn down that needs to be replaced, if you don't tell anybody about it, it doesn't get replaced. Eventually it's a flat, and then maybe several hours to get it fixed. Something that you could have planned, had someone there just changed out routinely between the uses of the loader. And so again, when we're doing these walkarounds, and operating, make sure you use your four senses: sight, smell, hearing, touch. I mean, we're looking for obvious stuff that's broken, leaking, cracked. If you smell burning oil, you smell antifreeze, you smell different fluids, maybe when you get off and check the machine, you're driving it and all of a sudden it starts making a clack, 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 clack sound, maybe it's time to see what's going on. And then touch, if you feel the machine, you look at something, be like, maybe that's oil leaking there, you go, yep, that's definitely oil, or maybe something's cracked and you feel it cracked. And always consult the operation and maintenance manual as well if you have any other specific questions about it. So the big question is, how many times, when do I do it, why do I need to do it? before you hop on the machine, because you don't want to be blamed anyone that, you know, the day shift did or the night shift did, or, you know, the new guy did or the old guy did, whatever it is. You don't want to be blamed for that. So definitely do a walk around before you hop on it. And the biggest thing is do it at the end of your shift as well. That'll help you fix any issues or see any maintenance items that are needed. So maybe it developed an oil leak that you didn't hear, smell, touch, feel, or whatever. You get off, do a walk around. Oh man, it's dripping oil right here. Need to get that fixed. Big thing.
CYA.
Yeah, basically. You don't want to be blamed for something that happened. If something did happen, let your supervisor know. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Let it know, get it fixed. There's a process. It's better to do that than come to find out something's happened and eventually gets back to you later. Do it the same way every time. When you do it the same way, you get consistent at looking at different things. You go around, yeah, that's there. You know, on your 100th walk around, you're like, hold on, that's missing today. You know, it was here all these other times and it's missing, or damaged or cracked. And you point it out and get it resolved instead of, you know, you get off of it, someone points it out, and again, well, I didn't do that. Well, you were on it, so you may get blamed for it. What we do in system maintenance is we got all the commercial vehicles that go out. They're required to do pre-trip inspections on the trucks and trailers for the guys each day. We got about 30 or 35 that go out, and we've modified that pre-trip to include a tractor, let the guys write down the hours on it so they can compare it to when it's due for service, check the fluids, and do the obvious maintenance, so we have a record of them doing that. And I don't know if it's something. I think some plants at times that have maybe done something or a checklist or sign out sheet and it's come and gone, but if that's something you think that would help, great. If not, and you have a good record with no damages and safety, it may not be something that you need. But it's always an option if you need it. Talk to your supervisor, or your supervisor may talk to you about doing that if they choose to. So, again, every wheel loader is different. And you're looking at this long list of different things, but this is, when you walk around, you're looking at it, and you'll be naming them off quick. So what we'll do when we go outside is we'll do walk-arounds of the machine, looking at these things, naming them. And it's going to take a lot longer when we do a walk-around out there than when you actually do a walk-around yourself, because you're not going to be talking about it, you're just going to be looking and going. What I'd recommend is that people that haven't been on the wheel loader or haven't operated kind of go last and kind of walk around following the people as they go, just to point out the major machine components. And again, we're looking for obvious stuff. This is a ground level inspection. We're not crawling in the machine, over the machine, under the machine. We're looking at, you know, if you got a bucket on there, or if you have a set of forks, you're looking, are they cracked, are they broken, are they bent, are they on properly? Because I believe your piece of equipment has a quick coupler on it. And did you want to do something on the quick coupler as well?
Yeah, we need to know how to change forks and buckets and stuff.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely do that today.
Yeah, I looked for that thing the other day. I couldn't figure it out.
Okay, well, we'll definitely take a look at it. It may be something that if you haven't used it in a while, maybe it's broken and needs to be fixed.
You know, I can't find it. I can't find the switch to release the.
It's a button on the side. You have to hold that button when you change it.
Okay.
The forks and the bucket off.
All right, yeah, every machine's different. We just got to figure out how this one goes, and we'll learn it. And what we'll do is at the end we'll talk about that specifically. Again, some of the things you're looking at as far as the ground level inspection is lift and tilt cylinders, loader frame, make sure there's no cracks, tires, lug nuts, brakes. You're not going to be able to see, but all the lug nuts on there. Just a quick look, just a second look at the lug nuts. The tires, got to have deep cuts in them, or they're worn out, they need replaced, things like that. Underneath the machine, when I say underneath, we're not crawling underneath, we're like, oh, there's oil. And then once you identify that, push it to the next level. Maybe fleet needs to come out and look at it. Steps and handholds, conditions, cleanliness, fuel tank, make sure you got a fuel cap on, no leaks, hydraulic oil tank. Make sure that's, a lot of these machines have sight windows in them. So we're not pulling a dipstick, wiping it off, putting it back in, checking the fluid. You walk by and there's 2 lines on the sight glass, and as long as you're between the lines, you're good to go. And that speeds up a lot of stuff. Chuck's shaking his head, no, not on this model.
No, there's a sight glass, but there's nothing in it.
Well,
I brought that up the other day.
well, I guess we'll see if it's been resolved today. Transmission or powertrain, oil, batteries, overall machine, bolts. If you got a lot of bolts missing, loose, stuff like that. Of course, all models are different. This one's identifying some oil level indicators and everything specifically on this, but we'll talk about the loader out here. And some of these things are going to be accessed from under the hood: your oil level, your coolant level, air filter restriction. Radiator's pretty easy to look at. You pop the back and make sure there's nothing, debris, dust, dirt, leaves, sticks, hay. It's just stuck in the back of the radiator where the fan's at. Visual inspection of your belts and hoses, overall compartment cleanliness. If you open it up and there's just caked oil everywhere, keep in mind if it's an older machine, it may have an oil leak, and it's up to fleet to determine the severity of that. So if you think it needs to go to fleet, they'll check it out and make that determination if it needs to be fixed, or this is just a nice crisp machine and it's gonna leak a little oil here or there. So when you hop inside the cab, some things you're gonna be looking at is mirrors, lights, fire extinguishers, windshield wipers, air screen intakes, wipers, lines, hoses, hand guards. We'll talk more about when we get in the machine about adjusting those things. So with all the light, all the mirrors, all the seats, the seat goes forward and back, probably the steering wheel goes up and down. We'll adjust for you, because what might work for one of you might not work for me, or might not work for somebody else. So adjust it for you to reach the pedals, the controls, see the mirrors, and operate the best you can. My wife's like this tall, and if I hop in the car after her, I'm going to die from an airbag hitting me in the face. So I got to pull the seat back, and same thing with her. She can't touch the pedals if she gets in after me. So just like our cars adjust for each and everybody, the loaders will as well. And again, the rollover protection system is designed to take a rollover. The biggest thing about that is that there's not supposed to be any damage on that previous. So if you, let's say there's a overhanging thing that the loader gets run into and it dents the rollover protection system. That's what ROP stands for. We got a big dent right here and maybe here on it. Well, that needs to get fixed, and the reason is it's designed to take a rollover when it's not damaged. If you have something damaged, you get in a rollover situation, it might not function as anticipated or made to do so. Seat belts, and again, just proper brake pedal reach, operator height, weight. Majority of these have a suspension seat in them. Usually a little dial you crank in the center that allow you to raise the seat up and down, and a lot of them have a weight on it. You set your weight on there and it puts you in the middle, so you have both upward and downward travel. Horn, backup alarm, lights, operational. Again, you're a 24/7 operation. You got to have lights to do what you need to do. So how many dumpsters y'all moving a day here with the loader?
It varies. Depending on they get full, maybe 3 to 4.
3 to 4.
Depends on how full they get full. They need to be done.
Okay. So yeah, I mean you're gonna be using it for that, and then unloading chemical totes, I'm sure, and other materials. Yeah. Overall cab cleanliness, we touched on that earlier. I mean, this loader, for example, you can see all the way through the floorboard with both doors open. Hopefully we can see that same type of thing, cleanliness. I don't know if you can see through the doors on yours, but just overall cleanliness. Let's see. This is really pointing out specific things on the machine when you click on the dots, and we'll talk about that when we get outside. I don't really want to spend too much time on this because this is specific for this machine, and we'll talk about your machine when we get outside. Again, we'll eventually go outside and do a walk around demonstration. We'll do the buddy system. So what'll happen when we get outside here in a little while, Chuck and myself will walk around, label and stuff, and y'all kind of follow around, and we'll talk about it. And then each of you will go around, we'll walk around with you, just labeling off those same parts and pieces, what you're looking for. And this is not a test, it's just looking that you're taking the time to look around at the machine as efficiently as you can. Again, we're not mechanics, we're not fleet, we're looking for obvious, conspicuous things. Let's see here. So, operator compartment objectives. We're going to understand and recognize ISO symbols, operate and interpret various gauges, indicators. We'll talk about what they are, what they do. Knowledgeable to operate all machine controls and effectively operate all implements. Again, we'll go through buckets, fork switching, coupler class at the end. Just a little session just for everybody watching so we know. So ISO symbols are symbols that may pop up. So in your car, you have a little engine pop up. What does that mean? Check engine. You know what it is. It pops up in your car. I got a Toyota. I drive back and forth to work. My wife's got a Ford. We've got a little symbol pops up in both of them. We know it's check engine. Same thing with probably all of our cars or vehicles, trucks, cars, whatever it is. So you'll have a standard that comes out that will show you a symbol and it means something. We're going to talk about those and run through a bunch. But you start combining them with a couple different things, they actually mean more than that. So this one, anybody, any idea what that is? No. Come on, engine. So engine. So if you look at an engine, it kind of looks like a straight 6 or straight 4 or something in line. It kind of looks like a gear. What do you think that means? Transmission. I heard it. Yep. Transmission, maybe powertrain. What's this mean? Parking brake. All right. Brake. Yep. What's this? What's that? Pulley? No, not pulley.
Hydraulics.
Hydraulics. So you got a compression thing in there. It's hydraulics. So if I dump a bunch of stuff on top of this, some stuff will get stuck, some stuff will go through. So it's filtered. Yep. Fuel. Yeah. Fuel, gas, diesel, whatever it is.
What's that right there indicate?
Indicate the side where you fill it out there.
That's what side the vehicle's on.
Yep. Fluid, oil. This one's kind of tricky. You can go and pop it out there. Fluid. There's one on here that's odd.
Makes no sense.
Yeah. So this is temperature. All right. Possibly. It says something else on here. Go ahead and hit it up, Chuck. Pressure. So you got the two things coming in. You talk about pressure. Yeah, on and off.
Sensor.
Yeah, it's got a check.
That's why does check have an exclamation point? Why didn't you just put a check? All right, now we're gonna.
I think you skipped one, did you?
No.
Okay, good. Sorry. It flashed a few pages. So when you start adding them together, you read kind of from the outside in. So transmission, oil, filter, powertrain, oil, filter, and transmission and powertrain are pretty interchangeable on there. It depends what model it is, what brand it is. They may call it a powertrain, they may call it a transmission. And so this one right here, you got hydraulic, oil, filter. You got the two things kind of showing pressure there. You got an engine, air, filter. Most of the time you'll have a light that comes up that's engine air filter restriction. If you're on a work site that has a lot of dust, you can actually get so much dust packed up in there it affects the air coming in. Needs to be cleaned out. It's a warning indicator that'll pop on there. Transmission system check engine, brake system, parking brake, engine overspeed. Engine overspeeds if you're in a manual car and you go down the hill and you try to go to fifth and go to third instead, and you go, that's engine overspeed. It can actually happen on the wheel loaders by going downhill, and the weight of the machine pulls it downhill faster than the gear and the engine are going to go, and it'll give you an overspeed indicator. So to fix that, just hit the brakes. Fuel level, electrical system, alternator on off start, rear side lights, battery disconnect, and battery disconnect off. So we got a few on here. Yeah, starting aid, ether, if it's equipped with that. Most everything's probably gonna have glow plugs. Panel switch test depends on what model it is. It's kind of the older ones where all of them have indicator lights, and you do a test, which all the lights come on, but you know, hey, I don't have a burned out bulb. Tachometer, service meter. Some of the implement control symbols you'll have are float, lower, hold, raise, ride control, dump, tilt back. You may use some of these, you may not. So what do we think this is going to be? What's the one on the outside?
Light.
Engine. All right, so we got engine with a lightning bolt in there. Battery disconnect.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
And that, your loader does not have one.
So we got again, what's the symbol on the outside? Engine. Engine air filter. Yep. Park and brake. Ooh, what we got here? What is this one on the outside? Hydraulic. Got it. Check engine. There you go. This is coolant flow. I don't think you'll ever see it. Looks like a sunset out there or something. You can skip through that. It's all about Caterpillar stuff. Now, some of the warning indicators, you may have some warning indicators that come on while you're operating. Some require you to stop the machine because it's a bad thing. Some are you need to either change your operation technique or it's something you need to do here soon. So level 1 is typically charging system or low fuel. You get a low fuel light pop on. You don't have to do anything immediately. You know, hey, I need to get fuel soon, very soon probably. Something like that. You can continue to operate, notify your shop supervisor, or go get fuel. Warning 2 comes on. It usually has a light, indicator light that'll come on, and then an action light as well. Some other, maybe a red light or something else on the dash may pop up. Excessive coolant temperature, transmission oil, hydraulic oil. A lot of times you can fix that by changing your method of operation. Maybe you're running it too hard. Maybe I need to slow down a little bit. Maybe I just drove it from, I don't know, the main shop to here wide open. Maybe I need to stop and give it a break. Level 2S, if it has it, this may be cat specific. Continuing action alarm, which will be a buzzer or some kind of siren will come on. Level 3 is sometimes it's a parking brake. You might have a intermittent action alarm, a beep beep beep, to kind of get your attention. Some of the big things on there, if you got low oil pressure, clogged powertrain, oil filter, coolant flow failure, maybe the water pump goes out on it, maybe the something happened with the motor and it's got low oil pressure, immediately shut down as safely as possible. So if you're trying to lift something up, don't just shut it off right there. You know, back up, set your load down on the ground, then shut it off. You don't want to shut it off with something in the air or maybe blocking a road or in traffic. You know, pull over safely as you can. So we'll talk about starting the loader in different conditions. Most of the time it's stored indoors, correct? Over there or out here somewhere when it's not in use. A lot of times you'll have starting issues if it sits here like a weekend or a week without being started, but you shouldn't have that issue with being it ran every few hours. We'll talk about moving it, parking it, startup and shutdown procedures. So one of the things that the 360 walk around is going to help you do is make sure there's no personnel in the area. You know, you do a walk around, there's no one laying up under it, changing the fluids in the machine. Clear all obstacles, because you hop in, wheel loader's big. You know, if it's parked right here in the middle of a room, I don't know y'all are over there, I just see a table and maybe there's something, but if you do that walk around, you can see maybe someone parked a vehicle next to it. Maybe someone's leaned something on it, leaned a ladder on it. and you can prevent damaging the equipment, damaging the ladder, damaging what else, backing into a car just by doing that walk around as well. So make sure the machine's on battery disconnect. You probably never, Chuck says it doesn't have it, so you can't turn it off. And battery disconnect just kind of kills all the power on the machine. You go up there and turn the key, it won't start. But clean, secure all windows and doors, adjust mirrors for optimal vision, adjust your seat, proper pedal operation, operator height and weight, inspect and fasten seat belt, and start engine only from the operator's compartment. So you don't want to lean up in the machine and just fire it up. You want to be seated down in the seat that's designed for you to operate the machine. If that machine decides to start rolling or take off or implements start moving, you want to be there ready to grab the controls. You don't want to be trying to fight it and rodeo style or hop in it and try to get it to stop from rolling down a hill. That wouldn't be good. So most of the time this is going to be us here in Georgia. We're usually above 32 degrees majority of the time. Make sure it's in neutral, parking brakes on, make sure your implement controls in a hold or neutral position, turn the key, watch your gauges, make sure any alarms or lights go out, everything's good to go. Boom. Good. Below 32 degrees, more than likely it has glow plugs on it. You'll probably turn it on, 2 little loops will come up on the dash, and just wait for them to go out, and this glow plug's fired up. If it doesn't start, cycle the key back to the off position, turn it on, let your glow plugs go again, and then attempt to start. And if it doesn't start after that, contact your supervisor. You may have to get fleet out here to get it, but give it a few good tries, whatever you normally do. Again, every machine has its uniqueness, I guess to say. If you got a stalled machine that won't start, or you're running out of fuel for some reason, call fleet. They'll have to come over here and do what they do to it to get it going again, probably. I mean, attempt to start it, but if it doesn't start, you probably have to call fleet. And same thing with jumping it off. Yeah, we're not gonna jump it off. You can skip through the video. So after starting the machine, allow the engine to warm up. What that warm up does is it gets everything up, all the oil moving through the motor, everything moving around. Just watch your gauges, make sure, like I said, all the lights and alarms go off, your panel indicator, and depending on the model, some of them you have to check the transmission or powertrain oil while it's running. It should show us or tell us out there. Usually if it's between the lines, you're good to go. So whatever your site requirements are here for moving the equipment, I don't know if you have to sound, I don't think you have to sound a horn, you just kind of hop on and go, whatever your supervisors need you to do. Raise all your implements. You don't want to run off with the forks on the ground, stabbing stuff or dragging the ground. So when you move the implement off the ground, where do you want it at? You want it, like an inch off the ground, or a couple feet up, or way up, or all the way up? Where do you want it at? A couple inches? Enough to roll with. So for a couple inches, how high is some bumps or speed bumps in here?
Well, we got no speed bumps.
Okay. Potholes. You got a couple inch potholes back there, right?
It's gonna be up enough to clear over.
Okay. So yeah, you want it probably a couple feet off the ground. Not so much that it's blocking the visibility of you operating the machine. So depends what you have on there. If you have a dumpster on there, that may be higher or lower than you normally carry it without anything. Perform a steering and brake check. And brake check's important. Most of the time you get on the loader, you probably throw it in gear, take off, and then you hit the brakes at your first stop. Well, if the brakes don't work, you want to kind of test them before you need to stop. Maybe you can test the brakes there, just roll a little bit, just touch the brakes, make sure they work, good to go. You don't want to be rolling into a building or rolling up to a truck and you can't stop.
Especially if you just got it back from fleet.
Yeah. Keep in mind, Fleet does a very good job at what they do. Fleet, just like everywhere in the county, is down on a few people. They're doing the best they can. But, unfortunately, things get missed, just as you or I may miss something occasionally. So just because it comes back from Fleet, still do your 360 walk around. It's no guarantee that everything is 100% correct, because maybe what it got sent over there for, maybe it came back with a different symptom. Push down your brake pedal, disengage your parking brake, shift the control over the desired direction and speed, release the brake pedal and govern speed with the accelerators. Just put it in gear, drive off. That's
They don't deal in this, right?
no, we don't. So of course, when you're changing speed and direction, make sure we slow down. We're not still on the throttle. Stop the machine, move the transmission lever control to neutral, and then back to the desired speed. Most of the time when you come to stop, you flip it down, back to reverse, back up and forward, because you got to go through neutral. Release the parking brake and go again. What you don't want to do is you don't want to be rolling still. You don't want to be in motion when you switch directions. It's hard on the machine. It could cause your load, whatever you're carrying, to shift or come off the machine. Things like that. Operate only while seated. Again, it's designed for you to sit here, operate these controls, make sure you're seated, make sure no one's in danger before moving. There's no passenger seat, so don't have riders. Note and report any needed repairs. Again, I've said that throughout this. Noting any needed repairs. Carry an implement close to ground. Keep a safe distance from overhangs and slide areas. If you're ever in a situation where the machine side slips, say there's a hill like this and we're going across it and it starts sliding down, you immediately need to turn downhill and get the machine straight, because it's harder to roll the wheel loader over front and back than it is side to side. Most everything, cars, all that, usually roll over side to side. You don't see someone just flip over that way most of the time. Not saying it can't be done, but there's probably a YouTube video out there showing someone doing that. But anyway, turn downhill, get your bucket implement down to the ground. If you can't slow down, stab your forks into the ground, stab the bucket into the ground, whatever you need to get stopped before you come to the bottom. Work up and down slopes whenever possible instead of across. So if you got a slope and you gotta go from bottom to top, try to go straight path if applicable, instead of add a diagonal across it. Avoid situations that would cause tipping. Work with machine capacity. If you got a tow, you're probably going to tow barrow towing out here to get the machine unstuck if you had to. Never straddle a cable. Anyone have a question about that? Never straddling a cable. Why not to? Okay. If you are towing the machine for some reason, don't get between the machine that's towing and the machine that's being towed. One, if the cable snaps. Two, if the machines come together and you're in the middle, you're not going to win that one. Yeah. So parking is the same thing. Just like your car, you come to stop, put it in neutral on the wheel loader, and apply the parking brake. Usually, loaders don't have a park feature, so it's going to be neutral. You have to apply the parking brake. Let engine idle for 5 minutes. Any idea why we let it idle? Kind of let it cool down. Yeah. So if you're running the machine hard, you got your exhaust temperatures up. They can go well over 1,000 degrees on your exhaust temperatures, and the turbo and the diesels will get hot as well. Turbos are oil cooled. If you go ahead and you run it hard, just cut it off, that turbo is still probably 1,000 degrees with no cooling in it. So let everything kind of cool down, and you just let it idle for 5 minutes. You may not be running it that hard. You may not need to wait 5 minutes here inside the plant if you're using it. If for example, if your operating temperature doesn't even come up to normal range, I don't think you'd have to wait 5 minutes to let it cool down, but just a little bit instead of just cutting the key right off. As far as just finishing it up, turn off the engine or push a button if it has that. Then again, you don't have a battery disconnect switch, but the big one, post walk around inspection. Maybe you got close to something, you didn't think you hit it, but the machine weighs 20,000 pounds. You didn't feel it, but the car did. You got scratches or dents on the side. Yep. The dismounting, again, base machine, 3 points of contact, 2 hands, 1 foot, 1 hand, 2 feet. 75% of all personal injuries involving heavy equipment happen when mounting or dismounting the machine incorrectly. So we can prevent 75% of the accidents from happening right here by getting on the machine and getting off the machine correctly.
Tell you, you drag your shins across them cleats one time, you'll remember, you'll never forget.
Yeah, they don't budge. Yeah. Now we can move through that.
Break.
Yeah, we take a break. We'll take a 10-minute break and come back here, get up, walk around, get moving, get a drink.